Dear grade 12 students, it's my pleasure to welcome you all to a new English video lesson in which we are going to focus on practicing two extremely valuable reading skills. To begin the lesson, make sure you have your Portal to English Students book opened at pages 112 and 113. In the first part of today's lesson, we are expected to develop our skills in investigating the change that could be perceived in the writer's attitude through monitoring his or her expressed thoughts and feelings. In the second part, however, we would enhance the skill of guessing the meaning of new vocabulary by making use of the words around them in the context. Now let's start with our first objective of tracing the writer's change of attitude by an intensive reading of a letter of complaint. Do you still remember the four texts associated with food marketing which we read in the previous lesson? We read a company email which enclosed an advertisement for a chicken sandwich, the letter of complaint about that sandwich, the article about the ways of deceiving consumers, and the poster for a marketing seminar. Today we have a question referring to the letter of complaint, which would demand us to read the message more closely in order to see the change in the writer's attitude towards the product she bought after seeing a stimulating flyer for a chicken sandwich called Sensation. Here is the question, which needs us to use our own words as well as quoting the writer's exact words to provide a written response. The question says, in text B, what was the writer's attitude towards Flash Foods products before and after seeing the flyer? How did her attitude change? Thus, we are anticipated to look for words and expressions which reflect the writer's attitude towards Flash Foods products. So let's get down to reading the parts bearing the clues to answer this question. First, are we supposed to read the full message? I don't think so. This letter of complaint consists of 3 paragraphs. In the introduction, the writer gives the reason for her letter, and in the conclusion, she states the action she desires the company to take. Do we need to read those parts? Of course not. We're not supposed to waste our time in these parts. So what is the part that we should be interested in reading and where we might find what we are looking for? It is the main part of the paragraph in the middle, which describes Miranda's terrible experience with a chicken sandwich called Sensation. Here Miranda starts describing her painful experience by saying, I must admit, I went against my instincts. What does that mean? It means that her gut feelings and intuition told her not to eat that kind of fast food. She felt deep inside that she shouldn't try this. So let's note this down and begin our written response. Before seeing the flyer, the writer did not view Flash Foods products positively, as she writes that ordering the sandwich went against her instincts. Despite her negative feelings towards Flash Foods products, she was tempted by the flyer and changed her mind. How did we know that? Here she says that she decided to order this delicious-looking sandwich. Where did she see that look of the sandwich? Of course, the advertisement on the flyer, so we will add this to our written answer. After seeing the flyer, she was attracted and excited. Therefore, her attitude became positive enough to order the sandwich. But did she continue to have that positive attitude after she received the Sensation sandwich? Let's see. She was describing her horribly upsetting experience with the sandwich using words which highlight her anger. She was saying, imagine my surprise when I opened the box to find a slice of tomato and a piece of undercooked chicken squashed between 2 thin pieces of processed bread. There was nothing delicious and nutritious. So, after getting the sandwich, the positive attitude evaporated, as she stated that it was an unpleasant surprise, which made her feel very angry towards flash foods. Now Khalid would like to act out what happened to Miranda. First, he shows that he is reluctant to consider any of Flash Foods products. Then he sees a flyer with a delicious looking sandwich, and the description of the healthy ingredients make him decide to order the sandwich immediately. But after he gets the sandwich, he becomes really angry and decides to complain about that unpleasant experience. Now let's have this discussion between Khalid and a radio interviewer. The radio interviewer asks, "Have you ever been persuaded into buying something and then regretted it?" And Khalid answers, "Recently, a friend recommended a shop that had good prices on electronic devices. So I went and bought a new laptop that was on sale, even though I didn't really need it. I regretted my purchase because after a month the laptop broke down due to a manufacturing problem. I had it replaced, but it took them a while to retrieve all my files from the faulty laptop, which caused a great deal of inconvenience for me." The interviewer asks Khalid, "Would you ever consider complaining to a company about false advertising?" And Khalid answers, "I wrote an email of complaint to the shop manager, but so far I have received no reply. In general, I think it is important to express dissatisfaction when we feel we are victims of false advertising or poor customer service or when we have been overcharged." Yes, you're right, Khalid. Everyone should be positive, confident, and assertive enough to stand for their rights. The second objective for today's lesson is to guess the meaning of new vocabulary through the context. So let's start. Here is the exercise which helps us develop the skill of guessing the meaning through context. The question says, look at the highlighted words in the texts. How many highlighted words are there? There are 5. They are written here on the left. Enclose, drop, deceive, apparent, flawless. What are we going to do? We're going to match these words to their meanings, and their meanings are on the right: A, B, C, D, E. Then we will check our answers using a dictionary. So let's start with enclose. The context says, I am writing to express my disapproval of the advertising campaign which has recently been launched by your company. I have enclosed the flyer which was handed to me yesterday advertising the new chicken sandwich. So the writer is sending a letter and she says that she has enclosed the flyer, which would possibly mean that the letter together with the flyer are sent to the manager. So our answer here would be letter B, to put something inside an envelope along with the letter. Now let's make sure using the dictionary that our guess is correct. The dictionary for enclose says enclose means to add something such as a document or photo to an envelope or a parcel. And there is an example here.
Applicants should enclose a recent photo of themselves with their application.
So our guess was correct. The second word which needs our guessing is drop, number 2. And here is the context which contains the word drop. To prevent customers from falling for this deception, which is based on an inaccurate picture of your chicken sandwich sensation, I am asking that you drop this misleading advertisement immediately. If I continue to see these flyers, I will pursue legal action. We notice here from the assertive language of Miranda that she is really serious about doing something for this misleading advertisement, and she's asking the company to do this for that false advertisement. So the nearest meaning for drop here is going to be letter C, which is to stop doing something. Now, if we put the word stop instead of the word drop, and let's read it. I am asking that you stop this misleading advertisement immediately. It makes sense. And now let's make sure from the dictionary that this is a correct meaning for drop. And here drop means to no longer use or have. And there is an example here.
He dropped his American accent when he went to live in Britain.
So it is clear that the person is not using the American accent anymore while living in Britain. So our choice was correct. And now let's see the context for the words number 3 and number 4, the words deceive and apparent. Here is the context. Let's read it. The marketing industry has at its disposal numerous ways of deceiving customers. When it comes to food marketing, this becomes more apparent as what we see advertised is more likely to be a work of art than actual cooking. So let's try to guess here the meaning of the words deceiving and apparent. Again, the word deceiving in the context is at its disposal numerous ways of deceiving customers. What are they doing to customers? Is it something positive or negative? Let's see. Later, when the word apparent is used, the writer says, when it comes to food marketing, this becomes more apparent as what we see advertised is more likely to be a work of art rather than actual cooking. So the nearest meaning here for the word deceive is going to be letter E, to trick somebody and make them believe something that is not true. And this is what the marketing industry is doing to the customers. They are trying to trick customers and let them believe that what they are saying is true while it is false. Looking up the word deceive in the dictionary will give us this entry. Deceive means to cheat or to trick. And we have here a sentence which contains the word deceive and illustrates its meaning. Here is the sentence.
You can't deceive James. He knows immediately if someone is lying to him.
So James is very smart. It's difficult to deceive him, and our guess was correct. Now let's move to the word apparent. And when we focus on the context of the word apparent, we will notice that the writer is saying this becomes more apparent. We can replace the word apparent here by saying clear or obvious. We can say this becomes more obvious or more clear when it comes to the food marketing. So of course the answer for apparent is going to be letter D, which means obvious or clear. And again, we will look up the word apparent in the dictionary in order to make sure that our answer is correct. And here in the dictionary, the meaning says apparent means obvious, clear, or easy to understand. Let's hear a sentence.
It was apparent to everyone that he couldn't win the race. He was too slow.
So the runner was too slow, so it was apparent or it was clear for everyone that he is going to lose it. He is not going to be a winner. And now with the last word to guess its meaning from the context, the word is number 5, flawless. And the context says, marketers want food to look flawless for the photo shoot. So what do you think the marketers want the food to look like? Of course, marketers would want the food to look perfect for the photo shoot. So of course our answer here is going to be letter A, which is perfect. And again, we need to make sure that our answer is correct and to see if our guess was something near to perfect. And we will see the word flawless in the dictionary, and its meaning says that it means having nothing which could cause somebody or something to be less than perfect. And there is a sentence which says, everyone in the photos in the magazine seems to have flawless skin. Everyone in the photos in magazines seem to have flawless skin. So flawless skin means that their skin is something like perfect. Let's have a short quiz with these words, the 5 words that we have guessed their meanings in this formative assessment. We will need to fill in the gaps with the appropriate words from the list. So let's start. In the first sentence, his unhappiness was space to everyone in the party. His unhappiness was space to everyone in the party. Of course, here we need an adjective after the word was, and this is going to be apparent. His unhappiness was clear, was apparent to everyone in the party. The second sentence in this assessment says you are requested to space a photo with your application. Again, you are requested to space a photo with your application. Of course, here in this space, we need a verb. And this verb is going to be enclose. You are requested to enclose a photo with your application, which means that you need to put a photo inside the envelope with your application form. The third sentence says, all the copies are space and of the best quality. When something is of the best quality, of course it is going to be, yes, flawless. So all the copies are flawless and of the best quality. And now with number 4, he asked his son to space everything he is doing and study instead. Again, he asked his son to space everything he is doing and study instead. Of course, in this space we need a verb, and this verb is going to be drop. So he asked his son to drop everything, to stop everything, to give up everything he is doing and study instead. And now with the last sentence, his gentle appearance did not space me for a long time. Again, his gentle appearance did not space me for a long time. So here in the space, we need a verb, and this verb is going to be the word deceive. Yes, he was gentle, but he wasn't able to deceive me for a long time, which means that maybe he deceived me for some time, but not for a long time. Thank you for watching the complete video. You will find it available on your account.